Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tagline podcast. And, yeah. We should have planned this a little bit better and actually had a fucking Halloween special plan.
What is scarier than the U.S. election? People don't want to be frightened right now. Let's just talk about silly movies,
Yeah.
well-made silly movies,
Oh, yes.
and take people's minds off the horror that is reality.
Yeah. Good idea. I think it's a good idea. So, we're gonna be discussing. We had a poll going, and to be quite honest, I didn't check it once it would run up, but I think the winner was "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
You seriously didn't check it?
No. I spent the entire week just, yeah, okay, it's gonna win, and then I forgot to check it once it ran out. But I do think that the correct answer is. God damn it! Well, now I can't find it. God damn it! Oh well. Doesn't really matter because we're going to be discussing "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" because that's what I've been prepared for.
I'm not prepared for it, but we'll run with it anyway. I've seen the movie.
Oh, and we've lost the entire fucking viewer base.
Oh no, it says two. It's me and you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay, but yeah. Oh brother, where art thou? Where should we start, really? Because everybody knows the Soggy Bottom Brothers. That song is so. The soundtrack for that movie, I think, probably is the best soundtrack for the entirety of the Coen Brother catalog, in my opinion. I think it's the most memorable one, at least.
It all their soundtracks are super.
Oh yeah.
And fitting, or purposely designed not to fit. However, they're filling that particular movie.
Yeah.
But it is like one of my other favorites of theirs, Lady Killers.
Yeah.
Music is kind of an integral part of the storytelling in a way that it isn't in a lot of films. A lot of films, if you notice the soundtrack while you're watching it, the soundtrack's too much. That's supposed to set the mood, but not necessarily distract from what you're viewing. And this one, they are overlaid in such a way that you're listening specifically to the song as things are going on the screen. If that makes any sense to anybody.
Yeah, but yeah, it kind of does. But I think that it may be the fact that that movie is such a feel-good movie, and the soundtrack is such a feel-good soundtrack, that I can't separate the two. Sort of, it's just.
So you're saying it's a giant music video almost.
Yeah, almost. But it's. I just think it is such an. Well, it is kind of an upbeat story. It's based upon one of the most known epic poems of Greece, Homer, the Odyssey of Homer, and not that Homer went on an Odyssey, and not Homer Simpson, but Homer the poet wrote the Odyssey, or he may not. There wasn't one specific person. Homer is more of. I think he's more of a generic sort of poet that is more of a type of way of writing. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about Homer. People can correct me on that one, because I don't really know Greek literature. God damn it! I
Yeah.
just show my lower class there. The hipsters are gonna kill me now. Didn't you
Wait,
know that, seriously, Homer was like a guy?
uh, no, but
I was into Homer before the Odyssey, man. I'm all about the Iliad.
but yes,
Yeah,
it is my favorite kind. That, and we've talked about remakes and stuff. This is a remake
yeah,
of the Tale of Ulysses. However, unless you knew it was a remake of the Tale of Ulysses or was really familiar with the story,
yeah,
you wouldn't know because it was its own thing.
yeah.
It reminds me very much of a little film that a lot of people don't know about that I absolutely love called Scotland, Pennsylvania. And it is a retelling of Macbeth. But instead of a king, it is the owner of a fast food restaurant.
Hmm.
And and instead of like the where Macbeth ends up killing the king, uh, with the help of Lady Macbeth, uh, they accidentally knock him into a deep fryer,
Ooh.
and instead of the blood on that Lady Macbeth can't wash off her hands, the Lady Macbeth character, or Mrs. Macbeth in this, is constantly trying to get burn cream because some of the grease hit her hand. You know,
Oh.
it's
Yeah.
made into its own thing. It's like you have the in this you have the sirens.
Yeah.
You have the sirens,
Yeah.
which are the women in white at the river.
You have the Cyclops, who's
Yes, you have the Cyclops, which is John Goodman
yeah,
doing his thing, and he's a one-eyed Klansman, isn't he?
yeah, yeah, and you also have the the guy who wants to marry his queen, or his wife in this
Yeah.
case. So there's all these very similar um, situations that they have taken whole cloth from the Odyssey.
Oh no, it's absolutely
Yeah,
everything is in there. I think.
not everything, not everything. There's a lot
Well,
of things missing. For instance, the goddess island, the goddess Calypso, and yeah, all these other things. But there are a lot of similarities, and he was also, I mean, um, Ulysses was the only one who survived. So
I know
the tribe,
the
but
Lotus Eater.
it's still a fantastic retelling of that kind of. What's cool about it is that it is that kind of structure. It is that kind of um.
It's an epic. It's
Yeah,
an epic.
it follows the rules of the epic. It follows the rules of the epic, where you have this man who needs to complete a mission. He has a mission on, and first it is the treasure he's looking for, and then it's he reveals that it's really his wife. He wants to get back to his wife and prevent her from marrying another man. And then there's all these hindrances that he has to surpass. So they and all of them have this sort of supernatural nature. You have the black man who sold his soul to the devil, helps them get money for singing at a local record store, basically. Not even more like a record factory, I guess. It is a studio, but it's more they just print out albums. And yeah, it's there's a lot of supernatural
Now
elements
you
to it.
rewatched it. Is there the equivalent of him angering the gods at the beginning before? I know they escaped prison. Like,
Well, he keeps repeating the same type of thing that he doesn't believe in superstitious things, and that is exactly what Odysseus. I said Ulysses earlier. Ulysses is
yeah,
the Irish version of Odysseus, um, or it's the Irish translation, I think. But it's Odysseus curses or he doesn't curse the gods, but he doesn't want to thank the gods, and he almost says man has surpassed God, and this is what the main character. I keep forgetting his goddamn name. But the main character, played by George Clooney, keeps saying the same thing. He keeps repeating the idea that God is dead and you're just a bunch of superstitious hicks who believe in this idea of God being real. So there is a part of that as well. I mean, do you have the part? I think that is actually the part of uh, that is, I think, actually the part of the washing free of the sins is the first when they go down to the river and there is that sort of baptism
well,
going on in the
I,
river. He
I
does.
thought
He's the only one who doesn't go into the river and get baptized. And
no, but that might be playing two ways because they were
yeah.
the Lotus Eaters. They represented the Lotus Eaters.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So I don't know how to read into that. It can go both. It's the Coens.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but that's the beauty of their films. You can sit there and enjoy it as this lighthearted.
Comedy thing, and
Or
yeah,
you can look at it as somebody who knows the Odyssey and is sitting there and picking it apart and looking at all these neat things. John Goodman as the Cyclops is just wonderful imagery. Um, and them actually having to fight him and transporting it to the olden South, you know.
yeah. It's just oh, I was looking for that name. Everett. Everett is his name in the movie. George Clooney. Now I know. Yeah, but it's very typical Coen-esque in the light-hearted way. They take a look at perhaps one of the one of the first sort of tragedies, but with a happy ending, because he keeps losing his friends, he keeps losing his comrades, his men at arms. So yeah,
I think the main difference with that is yes, he keeps losing his buddies,
yeah,
but they're not dying like they did in the Odyssey.
no,
We thought you was a toad.
yeah, that part of the movie, I laugh my ass off every time I see the cinema scene. It's so awesome.
And just anybody who may not have seen it, who may have missed it, considering all the people we have listening right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a 16-year-old movie.
yeah, and there's plenty of people that somebody may stumble across this podcast at some point and
Yeah,
hear, oh, what's this? it is worth your time, especially if you're having a bad day.
Oh yeah.
I don't think, unless it's just not your type of movie, which happens, I don't think anybody could walk away from this film without at least a good chuckle. You
Yeah.
know, even if you don't find the humor laugh out loud funny, I almost can guarantee you that you'd smile as you were watching it. Just
Yes.
on and Clooney, as George Clooney is one of those actors when he commits himself to something in one way or another, whether it be serious or silly, he he puts in that performance.
Yeah.
You know, it's just glorious.
Yeah, and the thing is that he's I think he's an underrated actor, to be quite honest, because a lot of people see him only playing off this pretty boy, and quite frankly, that is part of his shtick in "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou." Oh, and I see I've miswritten it. I've written a H as well. God damn it. Oh, never mind.
What?
Um,
Okay.
I
Onward we press.
yeah,
No.
in the title, God damn it. But it's still. God damn it! I lost my train of thought.
Clooney.
Yeah, Clooney. Yeah, he is he is that type of um actor that gets underrated because of his looks. And the thing is that in this movie, that is kind of his deal as well. That is he looks like this slick, charming guy who can talk his way out of anything, but he does play that role quite often. But in this movie, he has a little bit more range, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you can really see it in his films. As far as George Clooney goes, he makes movies that aren't just my cup of tea.
Yeah,
But he's one of those actors that never I've never he definitely he adds to films he's in.
yeah,
You've got actors that are great because they never detract from the film they're in. They're always solid, uh, but they don't really add that much. You're glad they are there because they are usually workhorses. They know their craft
yeah.
and they make the movie
Pe-
work.
People like not John Turturro, but Miles Blake. Is that his name? Tim Blake Nelson, the guy who plays the other sort of prisoner buddy, the one who says, "We thought you was a toad."
Oh, okay, yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. He plays Delmar. And yeah, that those type of actors, they're really really good, and they're often character actors. They play this type of part, but actors like actors like George Clooney actually they because of their looks, you can't often you don't see the small variation of their way of acting, and he has the mannerism in that movie of a con artist. He has the smile and the entire fucking demeanor of a guy who's a bit shady, but you can't help trusting him and liking him. You know,
And
he's a rogue. He's a type of sort
and
of
it'll be weird
dashing.
to say, I think he played the roguish character better in Oh Brother Where Art Thou than he did in Ocean's 11.
Oh yeah, without a fucking doubt. I don't. The ocean movies are just they're his sort of dream, because he, in a weird way, is seen like the our days Frank Sinatra.
I mean, I think he'd take that as I assume he would take that as a compliment. I
Yeah,
don't know if I would have gone there, but yeah, I mean, I can see it. He's got
he's got his
his
group of friends that he always works with and hangs out with. you know, and they seem to be working well together, even though the ocean movies are kind of they're surfing their way through that movie. It's not really
Well, nobody's
depth.
got enough screen time to really put in
No, 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 no.
a level effort in.
Yeah, true.
But back to Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah,
You know, it's the Coens very much like a morality tale,
yeah.
and that's what this is. I don't know how to describe his journey though, and I don't know if does he learn anything by the end of the film.
No, but the I think, to be quite honest, is the moral of the story is the same as the moral of the story in the Odyssey. Is don't insult the gods. Don't think that you're bigger than everyone around you. Don't think that
You don't
you're
need help.
yeah, kind of. Even though you know, I'm an atheist and I don't necessarily see it that way, but I think it could be read in that manner. But it could also be read in the manner of don't assume too much about your own abilities and so on, because he is this guy who slides through life and he ends up very lucky, but then at the end he prays to God and then the flood sort of saves them, but then he recounts that
Yeah,
because
I think that.
and
Well, I
and
think the whole point is he doesn't actually learn anything.
no no no
Uh,
no 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 but think about this though. He recounts it, and then the ring that he was supposed to get in the cabin is wrong. It's not the right ring. It's not the ring that was hers originally, which is kind of a small sort of nudge to the original thing, which is the ongoing thing, is that he keeps trying to find a scientific solution to everything, or
well,
a
I
reasoned solution to everything.
I think good filmmaking and we're on opposite ends of the religion thing. You know, I'm a
Yeah,
Christian, you're
yeah,
an atheist. But I think that is also a great thing in a morality tale like this.
yeah,
You look at it, and you can put it in either like when I look at it, I can see it in context of my upbringing and my belief system, and it works. And you, completely different belief system, at
yeah,
least at least on that level, can look at it and enjoy it and everything within your own context. And that is why it's such I think, a universally loved film, especially
yeah.
when it came out. I don't know how many of the younger the youngins have seen it. I think they're missing out if they haven't.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a 16-year-old movie, but it's still a good fucking movie, and now, especially now, because I hate to bring this up again, but
do it.
yeah, it's it is in a it is in a way a very good example how you can make good moral tales without involving or without hammering down your ideologies or your belief systems. It
And I
is a
mean,
yeah,
being on the topic, I don't watch most quote unquote Christian films because they're so ham fisted.
yeah,
It's like it's just like everything else. It's I'll call it Ghostbusters syndrome. You're making a film.
god damn you.
Ha! You're making a film not to make a film, but to make a point, and that is the
Yeah,
wrong way to make a film.
yeah,
You got to tell a story. That story needs to be about characters. How you do that, that can be avant-garde, it can be traditional, it can be any way, but that's their basic purpose is to entertain us or art our brains out the side of our head, uh, but to
Yeah,
do it
it's not the
in
ham fist things, you know.
the language of film.
Asks
Don't
me ask me about my feminist agenda.
save it for unsolicited opinions.
Yeah.
Um, but it's the whole thing. Write a character, put that character into a situation, tell that character's story, and surround that character with other characters. I don't care. You can get your I will see your message, but I won't hate you and your film if you are subtle and use it as the point of the story and not sit there and make me feel like you are breaking the fourth wall, pushing actors out of the way, and screaming at me as a filmmaker. You know,
Yeah.
that's not fun for anybody. That's not fun in whether it be a Christian filmmaker or an environmentalist. Those movies like that always don't do well
Yeah.
because you're not making a good movie. You can sit there and do a Michael Moore style documentary if you want to go that route. Don't
Uh,
don't don't try to sell it as a movie as a well told story if it's going to be nothing more than you preaching to the audience. You know,
yeah, and that's the issue. You might as well just sit in front of the camera and talk to the camera. That's as
that's what.
about as effective as ham fisting ideology into fiction in some way. It's and yeah, the idea of the idea of having sort of and I said this on the Unsolicited Opinions podcast on Friday because we discussed the whole Chelsea Kane thing, and it doesn't matter what kind of ideology a writer might have. I'll still read them and make up my own mind if it's a good writer or not, because the story needs to be the main focal point of the of what you're trying to do if you're making fiction.
I think if, as an author, and even more so in a comic book, if you have to sit there and have a character spell out directly
Yeah,
what the moral of the story is, you know, sometimes that works. But if you have to sit there and have a character spell it out for me, hand holding, breaking character to do so, you know, you failed as a writer. You missed the point. You know, uh, you've got to sit there and have the character experience what you're trying to say and live through what you're trying to say.
yeah,
You don't just show it to me. Have the character show it to me. I may not agree with your point at the end of the day, but at least if you've got a good character and good story there, I can sit there and say, yeah, I don't agree with their position, but they made a damn good movie.
yeah.
You know, and
And
there,
in the end, that needs to be the point. That's the idea. That's the reason why we use stories to teach people morals and values. It's not to ham fist it in. It's to make people think and empathize. I just wrote. I'm gonna read a psychological report, or I think it was a research project that was how does fiction reading influence empathy. And if you keep hammering in that sort of ideological nonsense like that friend, nobody likes the friend who sits there and constantly berates another human being.
yeah, it's
Yeah. And
Now,
that's the kind of fiction I often see from these very, very, very activist authors and activist creators. They seem to be very concerned about, oh, it's not the story, it's not the characters. I don't need to create characters that people empathize with. I need to treat create characters who are polar opposites and often twisted versions of humanity. They either don't have any good sides or they don't have any bad sides. You know?
yeah,
So that's why I love movies like Oh Brother Where Art Thou. See, I brought it back. I
oh
brought it
wow,
back.
I
And
wondered how you were going to do that.
yeah,
Uh,
because these characters
yeah,
are, yeah, they are people with flaws, but they're lovable. All of them are lovable. The gullible friend, the Delmar character, is a
yeah,
lovable character, even though he is clearly not the sharpest tool in the shed. And John Turturro's character, even though he has an amazing temperament, he's lovable because he's a loyal friend. Even though they ran away from him, he still fucking warned them. He still warned them in the cinema scene about the trap that was set for them
yeah.
at the treasure. So yeah, and George Clooney's character Everett is also very lovable. He's a rogue. He does a lot of shady shit, and he doesn't take responsibility for his actions always. He always has some sort of escape clause.
Yeah.
But he loves his wife, and he's willing to do anything to be with her again, even though he
Except,
lies to his friends.
even though anything except responsibility.
Yeah, yes, that is true. He doesn't accept
Well,
responsibility,
I,
and that's why God took away the right ring. That's just
yeah,
what I'm saying.
our
Yes,
our
yeah. Do you have
our,
any
our whatever.
Yeah, do you have any recommendation this week?
I actually talking about George Clooney made me remember one of his films that I don't know if a lot of people saw it, but I absolutely love, and that's Michael Clayton.
Oh yeah, good choice.
If you have not seen that, that is just an amazing film, and that ending's just like bam. He hits it out of the park in that film.
Yeah, I just saw the Warcraft movie yesterday, actually.
Is this a recommendation or a warning?
No, it's actually a recommendation. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but I actually was entertained for 2 hours.
And
So
that's all you can ask from a Warcraft movie.
yeah. I'm just saying I don't have any recommendations this week, but I just wanted to bring that up. That the Warcraft movie actually entertained me. Yes, the characters are stereotypical. Yes, the there's a lot of sort of very clear things happening, and there are some missing. If you never played any of the Warcraft games, you're gonna feel a little bit lost to begin with. But it is, in my opinion, a very nice introduction to the Warcraft world. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it.
Okay, well, that seems to be it for this week, folks. Next week, I don't know what we're doing. We're out of October, so I guess we got to switch topics. Uh,
Yeah, maybe we should do Halloween next weekend.
Next, to start off November, actually, let's do this. We're going to do this instead of what everybody else does, and is going to start putting up the Christmas decorations already. We are going to go ahead and do some horror movie next weekend,
Yeah.
We're going to extend Halloween into November instead
Yes.
of Christmas into Halloween.
And
Uh,
we're gonna watch classical Halloween horror movies during the week. So yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk classical horror.
all right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. This has been Gene the Angry Penguin and uh, Jane the Meerkat Monarch, who you can catch on Friday afternoons at 4 o'clock Eastern for the Unsolicited Opinion podcast, along with Artemis Ira, Dr. Evil, and a plethora of other individuals who join in on a random basis. And in about 2 weeks, I may even be on. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. We will be here again next Sunday, hopefully on time. Uh, we are bad at that, but hopefully we will be here at 4 o'clock Eastern Time to talk about some classic horror and to maybe uh, fight off the Christmas spirit for another week. Well, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.